The following is a special presentation of the Georgia Tech Cable Network. House of Privilege is an exhibit that illustrates various social privileges and inequities in our society. The program focuses on the subtleties of power and privilege in an effort to promote self-reflection and dialogue. GTCN was able to speak with Andrew Howard, the Hall Director for Center Street Apartments and Advising Chairman for the House of Privilege Programming Committee, who was able to explain this unique and educational program.
House of Privilege is a program that Housing puts on for the campus as a whole. This program takes students through a set of realty situations where basically they get to observe various households along their tour. The households are meant to have students think about various socioeconomic statuses, religious affiliations, sexual orientations, and things of that nature that they may not consider on a regular basis and may not be part of. It's really made to help them think about themselves outside of their standard context and put themselves in someone else's shoes to really better themselves and to be able to think about others before judging. When they enter the actual exhibit, the exhibit this year was in the North Avenue gym. But when they entered the gymnasium, they were greeted by housing staff who were serving as realty officers for the sake of the program. They were then led through a tour as a group, and they again went through various situations, one of which dealt with a lower socioeconomic status, and so the situation dealt with a pair of siblings, one of which was trying to apply for college. But that sibling was having trouble applying because the application was online. They didn't have a computer at their home, and as such had to go to the library to put the application in. The issue being, though, that they closed earlier in the day, and so he was unable to finish the application. They also had to consider whether or not they wanted heat or cold food or lights that month, and so they had to make that choice. So it really tried to drive home the number of privileges that we are given, just in the sense of having heat and power and running water and things like that, and really make us consider what we deal with and have on a regular basis. Another situation that we had dealt with food, and it was simply, there were no actors involved in this instance, but there were a number of tables set up with a variety of dinner items and food choices that a family may have within different budgets. And so it really was kind of driving home at, if you have a very limited budget, you are usually reduced to having, McDonald's or some form of fast food for a large family. Whereas if you have a much larger budget, you can afford, fresh greens, whole foods, things of that nature, and feed people a much more nutritious meal. The debrief is usually led by either a professional staff member, so a hall director, an area manager, perhaps one of the area directors within housing, and or a counselor from the actual counseling center. Main reason for this is so that students can actually speak about what they've seen. Rather than putting them through the event and then just kind of letting them go, we'd like them to have a chance to ask questions, share their thoughts with each other, and really hopefully gain a better understanding of what was trying to be communicated. And if for some reason something really hit home and maybe was a little emotionally harder for them to see, it really gave them a chance to touch base with resources they may need to decompress about that and talk about it, and hopefully leave them again in a very positive light when leaving the program, rather than confusion, emotional instability, or anything of that nature. Students were encouraged to answer a couple of basic questions on sheets of paper and post them up on a wall. There was also a graffiti board, and so they were allowed to paint, write responses, And they were really encouraged to come up with 6 words as to what the program meant for them, what they felt in the program, what they saw in the program. A number of students, I think, were impacted, and at least at the end of the day, may really start to consider another person's perspective before judging or before assuming that they aren't privileged. I think, if nothing else, a number of the students have started to realize how privileged they are, and a number of privileges, again, that they may not realize and they probably take for granted on a daily basis.
Through programs such as House of Privilege, Georgia Tech students were exposed to real-world situations which forced them to take a hard look at their lives and the world around them. What they found was no matter how difficult life at Georgia Tech can be, when compared to what others have, the opportunity to be here is indeed a blessing they didn't realize. This place can become paradise.